Yes, I agree with what he's saying, but I do want to follow that up by saying white people have the power to push and reinforce their ideas and messages, even though they created what science is, like modern science and what we use now. They created all the definitions and things. They have the power to do that, though.
Mhm.
And when you have the power, you can push your ideas. You can create a whole science field. You can do that when you have power. And I agree with what he's saying. I have no disagreement with what he's saying, but I do think we need to understand why that is. I don't think we need to, we don't, those of us, family, we don't need to be the people who all up in our feelings like, oh man, I hate this stuff. We need to understand why this is. They have the power to do this. And
Mhm.
so now understanding that they have the power to do this, we have to come up with plans to undo this. But
Mhm.
what we can't do is recognize that, yes, white people created these modern sciences, these social sciences, and all these things that we use. White people created these, they created definitions, they created all this stuff. But then they had the power to not only create it, but to reinforce their messages through the sciences. So what you
Well,
gonna do about it?
I think he said something really powerful, and I'm glad he reiterated it because it reminded me of what I wanted to say previously too. They write the definitions
Yeah.
to paint a picture of the reality they want presented to us. And what I've learned about this, and I'll give you an example for once. So you remember the sister that came out and said that the Terminator and the Matrix was stolen from her?
Sophia Stewart.
So yeah, Sister Sophia Stewart, right?
Yeah.
Um, I spoke with her a long time ago. And one of the things she was talking about was the fact that she was coming to Philly to Black and Nobel bookstore, and I answered the phone.
Hmm.
Um, so long story short, I recall sharing that in a particular group, a black group, 10 years ago. That same conversation. Don't you know that those brothers and sisters pulled up a review from Snopes, which categorically denied her claim as having, of being ripped off and having her intellectual property stolen by the writers of the film The Matrix and The Terminator. Yet and still, she had just won a court case
Right.
proving
Right.
that she,
Right.
was owed intellectual rights and to her intellectual property.
Right.
So, but trying to prove that to black folk who went to white sources to prove that just speaks to the menticide that Dr. Bobby Wright's talking about. When you deal with white supremacy, and this is what I've always told people, when you're dealing with them, we're better than at anything they do. When we get into the arena, when there's a fair shake, when we have a
They
fair
know that.
opportunity,
They know
we
that.
beat, we beat them at their own game. The
They know
problem
that.
is it's their game.
But
So what they do is they change the rules. They change the direction of the game. Then they start penalizing you for things that 10 minutes ago was part of the game.
you know what? A bit of pushback. I
Mhm.
don't I don't think we beat them at their own game. I think we beat them at what we're good at, those aspects within the game, but they beat us at the actual game. And going on to what you say, it's their game.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
and they because at the end of the day, they have things that they've been able to develop. They have because we're good at a lot of things, but they are as well. They have their strengths, we have our strengths. But not only do they have their strengths, they own the game. They control the game, like you said. They control the game, and so because it's almost like yeah, we know if you give us a fair shot, if you give most black people a fair shot against white people, we already know who's gonna come out on top. We already know we winning, right? But that's the thing. Why would they give us a fair shot? So even in that, so I agree, but just a bit, because I do think that the aspects that we are good at, we dominate, because a lot of times we haven't really had access to the other aspects.
Okay, so let me tell you what I mean by the rules of the game, because I
All
don't
right.
disagree with you. It's their game.
Right.
You have two people, right? That's working. They're at the same level, same academic level, same experience level, right? But you have the brother that's outperforming the European counterpart, right? Or the sister that's outperforming the European counterpart. Now, typically speaking, based on a meritorious system that supposedly most places you work at, they supposedly practice this. The person who does the better job typically gets the promotions. But
Yeah.
we know that they will change criteria in the mix of that just to make sure that the brother and sister somehow, some way come up short. They'll create some type of test. They'll create some type of module. They'll create something, throw a kink in there, because now they need to change the rules of the game to make sure that their party is elevated to that place where the brother and sister somehow, some way seem to fall short, even though their job performance, work performance is better than this other person. That's what I mean by they change the rules. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
people running for I'm like I said, there's certain things I don't want to mention because I know how
YouTube.
certain things push certain buttons. And
YouTube.
unfortunately, as a community, we're not mature enough to have certain conversations. So, but there are so many other examples, and as you know, like you said, they change rules in court. They rip up documents. They change, sealed documents, things of that nature. They take them off the table illegally to prosecute Black people. They'll punish Black people in society. Supposedly you go to court and you're innocent until proven guilty, but it doesn't seem to work out that way for brothers and sisters, specifically brothers who are locked up
Hey.
at a clip of 10, or who receive prison time at a clip of 10%, 10 times of what anybody else gets.
Hey.
So
Yeah.
that's what I meant by that. But you're absolutely right.
Gotcha.
They control the whole system. They control the whole game. At any other time, anytime they can short circuit something, or they can add a program to it and flip it. So I get what you're saying.
I do. I just say this last part. Consciously or unconsciously, too many Black people want to be white.
99.9%, bro.
And then once you accept that definition, then you have a science called astronomy. Brothers and sisters got astrology. What sign are you? I knew that was some reason we couldn't get along. They dropped that one on us. Astrology. What sign are you? And I had some students in the free school once to do a research. I want you all to get on the L, which is the subway. And I want you all to get on the L. And I want you all to where the blacks ride, because, unlike you all, most of you have not been to Chicago and got into a cultural shock. Because we got block after block, mile after mile of nothing but Black folks. We got more Black folks in 2 housing projects than you all got in the entire Northwest. I mean, so when I talk about Black folks, I'm talking about Black folks, and we don't have that. Who are we? Why are we here, So, I had them to get on the subway where all the blacks ride and pick up the newspapers and bring them back to class the exact way they picked them up on the air. The exact way they picked them up, bring them back to class. We're doing this research. Sure enough, every paper that they picked up on that subway, and I mean they picked them up, the papers were about 10, 15 cents. Every paper they picked up, it was either turned to Ann Landers or turned to the astrology page. Astrology page. So right every day, if you notice, watch this. Whenever we get papers, that's how serious people are. That's how they are Mentacide is programmed up. And Mentacide, as I told you, is defined, as the sister told you, is defined as the deliberate and systematic destruction of a group's mind, with the ultimate purpose being the extermination of that group. He who controls minds controls behinds. He who controls the brain controls behavior. Very simple. Nothing complex about that.
Like he at the plate. It's a full count. It's the 9th inning. The game is tied. bases loaded, and it just hit the walk-off home run.
Yeah.
Literally. And I extended past that because he's specifically talking about Mentacide, but I extended past that. They controlling our minds, our bodies, and our souls, and our finances.
Mm-hmm.
We've given them full control over us. Not all of us, but too many of us have given white America full control over us. They have full autonomy over us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We are still their slaves. Like we was talking like last week. Slavery is legal in the penal system.
Mm-hmm.
Who are the people who are most locked up?
Yeah.
Slavery still
55% of the
real.
penal system is black.
So yes, for the majority of us, they've taken the chains off of they're taking the physical chains off of our bodies, but the mental chains are still there. That's why I'm reading Breaking the Chains of Psychological Slavery. Make sure y'all check those videos out every Monday. Make sure y'all check out my Wednesday videos too. I'm dropping a lot of historical profiles on y'all. Check those videos out. A lot of good information. But got to break the chains of psychological slavery. The object is to control the minds, the spirits, the soul, the body, the finances, and any aspect of the group of people that we want to oppress. If we can fully control them. Matter of fact, if we could get them to a point where we put them on autopilot, it's like what the miseducation of the Negro. We're talking about if you train the slave up in the proper way, the slave won't have to be sent to the back door anymore. The slave will automatically go to the back door. The person will know their place in society, i.e., black people accepting
Mm-hmm.
second, third, and fourth class citizenship in this country because we've either unconsciously or consciously accepted the inferior position. We've accepted that white people have the upper hand. We've accepted that white people are our gods. We've accepted that white people are our actual lifelines. Matter of fact, we've done more than accepted it. We've given up so much of our autonomy that we are dependent upon white people. So in a sense, we have made white people our gods because we've made ourselves totally dependent upon them for our survival.
Yeah.